Today on Loyola PAC News, Chief Operating Officer Paul Pastorek sent a video message to the Loyola community. Find out what he said.
Mayor Mitch Landrieu takes on his biggest project in the last days of his term.
And Loyola musicians band together to perform at Jazz Fest this weekend. Hello, I'm Nick Reimann.
And I'm Sophia. Active Chief Operating Officer Paul Pastorek sent out a video message this morning reassuring the Loyola community about the stability of the university.
I've been leading the effort on financial stability. I come with a complete understanding of what our academic and financial situation is, what our plans are to address our challenges, and with the knowledge that we've been very successful so far, and now I'm looking to finish the task.
Faculty cuts have been the topic of many conversations on campus. Reporter McBride caught up with students to find out about how they feel about the future of their college.
The threat of future faculty cuts has been concerning many in the Loyola community since it was announced at the Student Town Hall last Wednesday. During the meeting, new Interim Chief Operating Officer Paul Pastorek said there will probably be some faculty laid off in the process of balancing Loyola's books. One student at the town hall was worried how the proposed faculty cuts would affect the Loyola community.
With budget cuts, it's not just money being taken out of the school, it also means people being taken out, the possibility of people not wanting to come to our institution, and the idea that a place that we collectively as a student body have fostered and cultivated with our work, with our love, with our friendships with each other, and with our work with our professors, it's really heartbreaking to think that it could come down to the dollar sign.
Pastorek said any restructuring can be expected by the end of the year, so any potential benefits can be seen in the next school year. There will be people who will lose their jobs, Pastorek warned. However, he assured students that Loyola would not lose the character that makes the university unique and personalised. One Loyola senior, however, was not convinced.
I'm concerned about the faculty cuts because the last time they cut faculty, it really affected the quality of the professors in my major. So I'm concerned for what the future will hold if they do another round of faculty cuts. I understand that they have to make budget cuts. I just wish they would find somewhere else to make the cuts rather than the faculty, because I think it takes away from the Loyola education experience.
For PAC News, I'm McBride.
There will be a meeting hosted by the Campus Climate Committee next week to discuss institutional instability. Students who are interested can attend the meeting on Tuesday, May 1st at 12:30 in the St. Charles Room.
Legislature voted to fully fund TOPS, but how will this affect the state budget? Reporter Tia Teamer is here with Loyola University professor Sean Kane.
So I'm here with Professor Sean Kane, a political science professor here at Loyola University. Hi.
Hello, Tima.
So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about our state budget and refunding TOPS. How do you feel like TOPS will help or hurt our state budget, and why is it on the chopping block?
TOPS is a big portion of the state's budget. Higher education is a big portion of the state's budget. And thousands of students depend on TOPS funding to support their college and university education here. And when the state doesn't have enough money to pay for everything it wants to, major programs are subject to cuts. The state has to balance its budget, and in order to increase taxes to pay for government services and programs like TOPS, they have to have a 2/3 vote, and they're not at the moment willing or able to do that. There's thinking about a special session in Baton Rouge that might address that. But without raising taxes, big programs like TOPS are on the chopping block, despite hardly anybody in Baton Rouge wanting to chop it. And it's a priority for a lot of them, so they're trying to fund it as much as they can, it seems, although the process isn't finished yet.
So my next question would be, how does refunding TOPS actually affect the state budget and the other programs that our state funds?
Yes, if the state is not willing or able to raise enough taxes to pay for not only TOPS, but hospitals, roads, and other infrastructure, then if it wants to fund one fairly big piece of the pie, it has to cut other things, such as state funding and support for hospitals. So a lot of state programs are on the line, and a commitment by the state legislature to TOPS at this point seems to be correspond with an end to a commitment to a lot of other things.
And so what do you think is the next steps for our legislature, and how do you think they'll handle this problem?
Well, the State House just passed a bill that seems like it would reduce TOPS, despite an earlier House committee saying it would fully fund TOPS. But at the present moment, the big budget bill has cuts to TOPS, and it moves on to the state Senate, which will then have to decide if it wants to, what it wants to do in order to fully fund TOPS, or if it's going to do that at all.
Okay, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tia.
After a mid-city fire Monday morning, firefighters and property owners revisit the damages. Reporter Caleb Beck tells us how the community will recover.
John Stradler of Bayou Bicycles woke up Monday to news of one of the worst fires in city history.
My mom calls me and is like, hey, you hear your shop's on fire, is everything all right?
The Mid-City warehouse just next to Bayou Bicycles caught flame at around 5 a.m. Monday morning and caused over $1 million in damage. Fire Department Superintendent Tim McConnell said that a fire of this size has a huge impact on a small local community.
So the fire in Mid-City, is a really tragic loss to the community economically and to those personal losses to those business owners.
Firefighter Michael Williams sympathized with the victims and said that no fire is easy for him to handle.
Each fire takes this emotional toll, and you go into this place where you know what to do, your training takes over, but you're still human.
Reporting for Loyola News Service, this is Caleb Beck.
The cause of the Midtown fire is still under investigation.
With the heights of mass shooting across the country, reporter Tia Teamer tells us how you can save lives in matters of seconds.
There's a national program taught around the country that teaches community members how to stop life-threatening bleeding wounds.
So the Stop the Bleed campaign is to teach the community to be able to control major bleedings from accidents and injuries until they can get to the next level of care to be taken care of.
Stop the Bleed was launched initially in 2015 by the White House. The program allows people hands-on experience in saving lives in potential mass casualty situations. With the heightened threat of mass shootings over the past year, the Stop the Bleed organization finds it important that educators as well as emergency authorities learn how to use tourniquets and pack wounds in life-threatening situations.
Certain wounds can be handled just by putting direct pressure on top of it. A penetrating wound that has a big hole or crater may be handled with packing the wound, and that puts pressure on the bleeding internally. The tourniquet cuts off the blood supply upstream from the injury and can be very effective because that reduces all the blood flow into that arm or leg.
If you have a tourniquet, you want to place it 2 or so inches above the wound. However, belts and excess gauze can be used to stop the bleeding. Stop the Bleed classes will take place at the University Medical Center and are scheduled every month throughout the year. This is Tia Teamer for PAC News.
Stop the Bleed classes continue throughout the year at the University Medical Center. Visit stopthebleed.com.
A display meant to spark controversy, or to spark a conversation sparked controversy on campus Monday. We go to Abigail Lista live in the Maroon office for more.
Wolfpack for Life set up a display called Memorial of the Innocents in the Peace Quad that featured 2,000 blue and pink flags and a poster to raise awareness for the number of abortions that happen every day in the United States. Many students thought the display was invasive and offensive. Loyola freshman Sarah Alonzi started a petition on change.org to get Loyola to, quote, end political favoritism. With over 400 signatures, the petition is advocating for the creation of a pro-abortion rights club or the university to issue a public apology. The university has not confirmed whether a pro-abortion rights club is allowed to exist at Loyola. The interim director of University Mission and Ministry, Ken Weber, said that the university leadership team will have a cabinet meeting on Monday, April 30th, to discuss how the abortion debate can have space at Loyola. To find out more, pick up this week's Maroon. Back to you.
Coming up, people come and go at the airport. Find out what they're leaving behind.
And New Orleans is something new and blue. Find out about the latest bike sharing program to hit the streets.
Back to you, Lester.
Thanks, Taylor. And in our final story of the night,
Maroon has been ranked as one of the top student newspapers in the nation by the Princeton Review.
There's construction happening at the Louis Armstrong International Airport. The mayor hosted a celebration honoring the new terminal as the front door to the New Orleans culture. Reporter Anna Knapp brings us inside.
Open beams and roped-off construction zones. The airport lifted off the tricentennial celebration of the new terminal with something that will never fly away, a time capsule. Visitors were asked to leave something behind to show future generations today's culture of New Orleans. Jamie Harmon was one person who left something he's had for years, a fishing license.
Whenever they open a capsule, to be able to know that I was part of the city, I'm part of the agriculture, I'm also New Orleans and also NOLA.
The new airport will include a new checkpoint area that will be the length of a football field, as well as connected concourses, so that way all passengers can enjoy the award-winning concessions in one place.
I'm on the stairs of the new airport, planned to open February 2019. It is expected to have 35 gates and cost $1 billion.
Bringing New Orleans streets inside, entertainment venues will be placed throughout the airport as well as at baggage claim. Director of Communications of the Aviation Board, Aaron Burns, says why.
We really want to make sure that we make an impact on visitors when they come to this city and bring a lot more sights and sounds and smells of the city.
Mayor Mitch Landrieu says this is the single biggest project that he has taken on.
This is a world-class city, and this world-class city deserves a world-class facility.
Anna Knapp, Loyola PAC News.
The construction has employed about 900 workers daily throughout the building process. It is 65% complete and is on track for completion.
New Orleans is known for its colorful forms of transportation, like the green and red streetcars. But one more color will be adding to the mix, blue. Reporter Cindy Holmes has more on the new blue bikes sharing program that it has rolled into town.
New Orleanians are making strides to help with transportation, and the latest one is Blue Bikes. It's a bike-sharing program that launched in New Orleans late last year. Mid-City resident Esteban Largue Espada has been riding the bike since the launch.
I could have bought a really crappy bike that I wouldn't mind losing or getting stolen, or instead I signed up for these.
One of the reasons why Bike Share came to New Orleans is because we want to make the city more accessible to more variety of people. We want to connect the historic neighborhoods in a way that they've never been connected before, and overall make the city healthier.
Currently, there are 60 Bike Hub locations and 600 bikes around the city. Riders can check out the bike with the Social Bicycles app. The bikes can be rented for $8 an hour or $15 per month, and they also offer a reduced fare option. Largue Espada said that the bikes are useful for people who don't want to own a bike.
I think the blue bikes are a good way to not necessarily commit. It's a way for people to not necessarily have to be bike people, but use bikes.
Reporting for Loyola, I'm Sydney Holmes.
In the last 3 months, Blue Bikes riders have burned over 3 million calories and eliminated over 67,000 pounds of carbon gases from the atmosphere. To find out more about the bikes, you can go to bluebikesnola.com.
And coming up, the Pelicans swept the competition last week. See how they plan to do it bigger in their next playoff game.
And hey, Davis, how's the weather?
It's a rainy day. Want to find out if it'll rain some more? Find out after the break.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
So Davis, it's been absolutely perfect weather-wise. Please tell me with these festivals this weekend we're not going to get any rain.
I wish I could say that, but I'm actually not sure, besides the fact that it was raining this morning, so it could actually get worse from there, but let's go check it out. So we'll see over here, you can actually tell that we have a lot of nice cold temperatures coming on right now. Over up here in the north of the United States, you can see a little bit of purple over here, which means it's diving really cold. And then as we get close to the Gulf, you're going to see it get warmer and warmer until you get all the way over here to Tampa, where it's going to be 74 degrees. Now over here in New Orleans, it is going to be a perfect 63 degrees, which is something that I have been wanting for a really long time. Now if we go over, you'll notice that in the Louisiana area, it's going to stay like this for most of the time. It's going to stay like that nice, perfect kind of temperature, because the north is actually, for example, cities like New York are finally starting to get that spring weather after this almost 3-month long spurt of winter temperatures and snow. So as they're starting to clear up, we're starting to get a lot of that spring weather as well. And if you're coming up next, you'll see that tonight we are going to go up into the 56 and 60 degree range with our sunset happening at 7:34 p.m. I think that's going to be a great end to the day, especially when we have a low pollen count, a pollen count that is actually reaching into the moderate times. So unlike last time, we were seeing low pollen counts, and now we're actually seeing a rise in oak, ash, pecan, pine, mulberry, and sheep pollen. So if you have allergies, you might want to watch out, or at least be a little cautious. Now, the storms in New Orleans have been really interesting right now, because as you can see, this morning we had at 7:30 we had a storm coming straight over New Orleans and over this state and over near Atlanta. But thankfully, that has been moving out of our location and will be avoiding us for the rest of the day. Now, in the Caribbean, on the other hand, the storms are going to be a lot stronger. And as you can see, all the way down here in Panama, we're going to get a much stronger wind and storm. Now, for the 10-day forecast, we are actually going to go up in temperatures in time for the weekend. So if you are a big fan of the festival, you might want to pack some shorts because that summer weather is finally going to start hitting us. And that's all. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually really not a big fan of that 80-degree weather.
I'm a huge fan, so I can't wait for those days.
Yeah, it's really spring. I mean, I can deal with storms, but the sheep pollen, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. I don't have that much experience with sheep.
Coming up, the NFL drafts start tonight. See what position states are looking to fill.
And later, can you hear the music? See what's happening at this year's Jazz Fest.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So. I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
So Brian, I mean, we got some really good-looking college players coming off the board tonight. Are the Saints going to pick up one of them or what?
We'll see. We'll see here in a second who the Saints pick. But it's time to put those mock drafts away because the 2018 NFL Draft is finally here. The Saints hold the 27th pick in the draft, and CBS Sports has them targeting a tight end, wide receiver, and a defensive end, and a possible heir to quarterback Drew Brees. The draft kicks off tonight at 7 p.m., so be sure to tune in. And after sweeping the Portland Trail Blazers in 4 games, the Pelicans found out their second-round opponents the other night. The Pels will face off against the Golden State Warriors in a rematch from 2015. The last time these teams met in the playoffs 3 years ago. The Warriors swept the Pels 4-0. It's going to be a tough test for the Pels, who face off against the defending NBA champs, who have won 2 titles in the last 3 years. Game 1 is set for Saturday at 9:30 p.m. at Oracle Arena in Oakland. And the men's basketball team has been struggling. Baseball team has been struggling this season with the 22-28 record. But over the weekend, the Wolfpack took their series win over the University of Mobile and had a wild finish on Senior Day. And on Friday, the team lost Game 1 5-7, but on Saturday, the Wolfpack claimed the doubleheader. In Game 2, senior Jason Roussel pitched a complete game without allowing an earned run on the mound. And in extra innings, fellow senior Spencer Rosenbaum hit a walk-off homer to win it for the Wolfpack 2-1. And in Game 3, senior Joseph Kuchler recorded his 3rd complete game of the season en route to the 4-0 shutout to take the series over the Rams.
It was a storybook ending to my career at Signet. Then Game 2, I pitched and threw a complete game shutout. It was just perfect in every way. It was the best way possible for us seniors to go out because everyone had a great role in the games, and it showed that we could hang in the conference.
And finally, Loyola athletes are being recognized for their work outside of sports at the NAIA Scholar Awards. 16 Loyola athletes won the Daktronics NAIA Scholar Athlete Awards for having a 3.5 GPA or above. And 8 Loyola teams were announced as 2017 NAIA Scholar teams, something that athletes were excited for.
It's super important to us. Having practice at 6:30 a.m. It's not easy getting up in the morning, but we do it. We're able to study hard, and I've been part of such a great organization with people supporting each other.
It's good to see these athletes being recognized for their academics. What a nice way to end the season for these athletes. That's your sports for now, so stay tuned for more. And back to you.
New Orleans celebrates its Musical Heritage Festival at the fairgrounds this weekend.
You might recognize some familiar faces. Find out who after the break.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star.
I dare you to stand up here.
To call the shots.
To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life? Make me excited about science like you?
Have a career that really means something?
Then do it.
I dare you.
Loyola takes over Jazz Fest with over 50 members to perform from the Loyola community. Here's Loyola's Jazz Ensemble, playing Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. You can see them play this weekend. Jazz Fest kicks off tomorrow. All right, so we got the Warriors coming up. We got another sweep, right?
It's gonna happen. Let's see. Well, I mean, you know, Warriors, big team, big challenges. You know, they won 2 out of the last 3 years. It's gonna be a tough task, but hopefully the Pelicans can get some momentum going into that next round.
Yeah, we're doing it bigger. We're gonna do it bigger.
Pretty great.
Make it happen.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching.